Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Cord, okay, we're recording. So I'm just going to record this half-hour session. I know it took about a half hour yesterday, which worked out perfect. That was great.
So everybody ready for Christmas with all that snow?
Well, I'm starting to feel like it. More so than rain. Yeah.
No kidding, eh?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, wake up this morning to that. Woo.
I listen to a lot of Jingle Bells
Oh, there you
songs.
go.
Now we're in the mood, and the weather outside is done.
Hey, don't stop
Everybody-
there. I was getting into
Everybody
it.
join in.
I prefer the Run DMC Christmas song. It's pretty
Oh,
good.
there
It
you
was featured in Die Hard, so it's got to be good.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, we get a little bit silly as you get older. So,
No, no problem.
and we've been in COVID confinement for like you guys forever. So,
Yeah.
any chance we get to socialize, we get a little bit silly.
Mm.
But okay, let's get serious
Right.
now.
So Brian, Nancy, I'll let you get started in discussing the project. Where would you like to start?
Sounds great. So I guess yeah, I can start with a little bit of an introduction and then turn it over to Nancy to talk about what City School is.
Cool.
But I believe this project was mentioned to you in previous weeks by your instructors. This is a project. This is your major project for next semester. You're going to be creating a 30-second public service announcement to advertise City School by Mohawk. So you're going to have, as always, your instructors, Lil, David, and Sue, to help you with the curriculum pieces and help keep you on track with the requirements for the PSA. But you're also going to have Nancy, Kat, and myself from another perspective. We are your customers. So this is an opportunity for you to see in a safe environment what it's going to be like when you're actually out in the real world, pitching your ideas to various customers. And we're going to be gentler than your real customers will be, but at least it'll be a little bit of an experience for you. So, like I said, 30-second PSA on City School by Mohawk. How many people, show of hands, either on the screen or in the participant list, have heard of City School by Mohawk? Angelo? Okay.
You're also 2, Noah, 3.
Okay, that's usually the case. Usually it's a few people have heard of us. And so that's exactly why we want your help in creating a public service announcement. So with that, let's turn it over to Nancy to give you a brief of the product you will be creating a video for.
Thank you, Brian. So City School was an initiative 5 years ago that started based on, it's based on, but also there was an investigative story by the Hamilton Spectator that looked at the health deterrents. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Social determinants of health.
Social determinants of health. Thank you, Brian. And what they discovered that in certain areas of the city, there was a higher percentage of poverty and what that was, right? So neighborhoods that had low high school completion, that were perhaps the barriers were economic. And so Mohawk then, the big overall strategic, they took that at heart and they kind of say, okay, well, what can our institution, and since we're in the business of education, what can we do about it? So within our department, they developed City School. And what it is in a nutshell is we bring the college experience to the community. And we have outreach staff that we connect with the people. And so we have learned in the past 5 years, it has really evolved. People can take 2 courses, 19 and up. You're not able to take a course if you are enrolled in a part-time or full-time post-secondary program. And it ranges. So we have trades, we have social science courses, and also now we are beginning to partner with employers. So we have developed either anybody that participates in City School can either go through the education pathway, like the post-secondary education. We have one of your classmates in yesterday's class who took a City School course. They weren't sure, they share that, and now they're in a full-time program. So that's the goal of City School in a nutshell, but also with the employment path now as it continues to evolve. The other very important piece, I think you guys might want to sort of do a little bit of research, or by looking into our website or what's coming, we do it by semester. So different things by semester. We have different locations in the city, right? So Hamilton Public Library, we have a location. Eva Rothwell Center, there's another location. Obviously, everything due to COVID, everything has shifted to online, but we have been quite successful with that. And we have mobile classroom. I don't know if anybody saw lives in Hamilton that saw the mobile classroom. Like I live by Ottawa Street here, and that's where we house the mobile classroom for a few semesters. But the neat thing is that our students are adult learners. All of you guys are adults now too, but they come from different paths of life. So in your public service announcement, just like we are your client, we also want to attract people, or even maybe one of your parents might be thinking of changing a career, right? And say, hey, how do I start that? Because there's been people who had a career for 10, 20 years that might want to start a new one. Well, how does that work out? Sorry, my husband is on the other room at a meeting as well.
Say hi to Marco for me. Everyone
Yes.
say hi, Marco.
Thank you. But does that make sense, guys? A little bit of what in a nutshell? And you can always reach out to us and sort of say, hey, Nancy, I saw this on the website. What does that actually mean? Because if you want to take and create your storyboards and all the fun stuff that you guys would be working on. We joked a little bit, what are the other things that we're working on or would like to see in the way the society is shaping. We want to also include, be inclusive, diverse with the PSA announcements. So I know we have the Hawk identifies a male, but maybe it doesn't have to be a male, right? Like, I mean, those are ideas that we're putting in Professor David there, but we'll just, but yeah, be creative, and we don't want to exclude you from that piece, but I know you have to hit those technicalities that you have learned throughout the semester in the class. But that's sort of what we're aiming for. Yeah, is there anything I missed there, Brian?
No, I think that was quite excellent. And obviously there's more for us to mention, but let's pause for a minute to see if you guys have questions.
Yes, if anybody has any questions,
question.
please use the chat to ask those. I was just going to interject here and just talk about the film in that keep it simple. It's only 30 seconds. Get the message across. Also keep it entertaining, but you have to introduce the Hawk at some point and your own character. And right now we're just starting to look at who is that character. And to really be able to develop that character, it's knowing the subject matter, the kind of course that character would have taken, who is now successful and is interacting with the Hawk to show, the benefits of having gone through City School and then getting into a program within Mohawk College that has made them successful. So it can be just a slice of life of where that comes to fruition and comes across. So that character, we want to, this gets good timing. We're just starting to take a look at who that character might be. And it could be, and again, the clients, and you can correct me, is that they're 19 years or older.
That's right.
So it can be of any age, and make them diversified. If they could be, any kind of background and any type of character. It's just trying to get the message across of how their experience, and everybody's going to have a very individual and unique experience, like all of you will when you leave this program in 3 years. Everybody's path into the career is going to be quite different. So we want to get that across in these films as well. But the main idea from Brian and Nancy's point of view, it's got to promote what City School, the benefits of it. And the benefits, what we want to get across is the success of a graduate through that program and Mohawk programs, and how they're helping out the Hawk, or a chance meeting, or any number of things. I think Brian had some suggestions there yesterday on who that second character can be, and maybe some suggestions of direction in the subject matter, how you present the subject matter. Okay, I'll let you go for it.
So some of the things that I mentioned yesterday. So imagine you're a superhero. Imagine you're Batman. Are you going to do everything yourself? Probably not. Batman can't do what he does without a technologist like Lucius Fox or a sidekick like Robin. So how is your City School person who has taken a City School class in the past and benefited from it, how are they going to be helping the Hawk solve a problem? Your story is going to want to be able to present a problem and solve it within that 30 seconds. You may have some creative ideas yourself, and we don't want to interfere with those. But if you need some guidance, those are some ideas. You could also do the idea where it's a supervillain who's been to City School and somehow the Hawk turns them, or, the Hawk helps them on the way to jail or something. I don't know.
Out of jail, I would think, instead of into jail.
Yeah.
Brian, Carly has a question. Will we have your contact information, emails provided to us, or are you on the website? Yeah, Dave,
So I
that's the
think
David question.
the best way to get in contact with us is to email through your instructors. They're going to have a direct link to us, and we're going to be seeing you throughout the semester. We're going to be in your class 3 or 4 times throughout the semester. So there'll be opportunity to ask questions, opportunity for us to see your pitches and give you lots of feedback through the process.
And may I just cut in for a second? Is also too, if you're going directly to your supervisors and having your character designed and you're going past David and going to Brian or Nancy, then David's unaware of that. Or if you're coming to me and you're asking me about your design and your character, I might say, yeah, that's looking good, but make sure David sees it, because he's your supervisor and he has to approve it firstly. And then, because Brian and Nancy don't know the technicals of designing a character or the storyboard, for instance. I'll be teaching storyboards, and Sue will be teaching the script writing. So you still have to get it approved by them. And if there is a question, then it can be said, okay, let's upload and find out if Brian or Nancy can answer this, because their time is also very important. And we want to try and limit how much we have to go to them.
And again, that's a reflection on real life. Real life,
Yeah,
you'll run those things through your supervisor and then ask the customer questions.
yeah.
Exactly.
We have other 2 questions. So we have, correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Juxian? Yeah, no?
Is it Jun?
Yeah, it says, so
Just-
we need to,
Not Justin, Jason.
Jason. Oh, okay, sorry. It just comes out differently. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So we need to draw our own character with some pose, and we still need to draw the story with our character in final storyboard.
That's a technical question for,
Yes.
Hang on. Yeah, I got to find that one.
sorry, that's Jun. Jun?
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
Justin.
Yeah.
Justin, okay.
No, Justin's is lower.
No,
Well,
Jason.
we'll
He calls
review
himself
that
everyone
after
calls him
this
Jason.
session,
All right.
because we'll be going over the lesson today.
Okay.
And we'll clarify that. The next question here: can the story be comedic? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Entertainment often includes humor, so these can be. I'm hoping these will be fun, as well as getting the message across, making them memorable,
Mm,
Yeah.
which any good commercial should do, and not just be informative,
mhm.
but have the
Along
personality.
those lines, though,
Story. Yeah.
along those lines, just remember to be true to the character. So if the hawk does Kool-Aid Man through the wall, remember he's a noble and heroic character, so he's going to offer to pay for it.
Yeah,
Megan?
we're gonna have to review and go over throughout next semester as well is the hawk and who the hawk is and what the powers are and just how he is representing City School. And yeah, there's going to be some perimeters there, but we'll chip away at the understanding of that character. I'll be showing more examples. I had already shown a few examples from previous years for this project to the students. I'll be sharing more this semester for the remainder of this semester and next semester, just to give them some, inspiration ideas at where people took the ideas before and what worked or not. I know I've asked Brian and Nancy to review those films from last year, particularly, and pick out the ones that they thought were on point for their message, so I can show those ones again to everybody to make sure they can see what really worked for them. Because I know for us instructors, Lily and such, we're looking at the process, we're looking at the technical aspects of how to make a film and such. We got a good idea what City School and what our clients want, but yeah, they're the ones that really have the best feedback on the subject matter. And are you getting that across properly to people? Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Dave. There's also a question, a very good question. All the questions are great. Euros, in regards to COVID, would you want our work to be guided towards online classes or more general? I think, but I don't know how you feel about this, Brian, but I'm thinking both, if it's possible. I know it's only 30 minutes. And again, guys, I have zero idea of the process of how this unfolds. But I think it could be maybe like a breakdown. I don't know, well, a breakdown, like, oh, in City School have done this, in the new era that we're living, or, but I think that could be implemented, because I know in the yesterday's class, they had that same question too. So and even the comment was that if we have a character that has a mask, but then we couldn't see how they're talking, right? So those technicalities, I think you guys, those are excellent questions for David, if you want to take that path.
Yes. Great. Thank you that you brought that up, because yeah, we talked about that. If they've got a face mask for COVID, that one of the criteria for the project is lip sync, that there has to be dialogue, which is why we're doing a script. And we do want lip sync of the characters talking as a good exercise. But part of the criteria of doing the film is having them exchanging dialogue as well as the action and such. So we want to develop their personalities. So dialogue is going to be important. So if there is a mask, if you are dealing a subject that has COVID, they'd have to take the mask off at some point for that to work, but we could still introduce it and have that part of the theme. Okay.
It can be a cutaway. It can be a real simple thing, by a cutaway. And then when you cut back, they're just finishing pulling it over their ears. We don't have to see them do the whole thing and, get it on the ears. There's just different ways to go around it in the storyboards and stuff like that. But yeah, I think what you're saying, Nancy, to be able to indicate on both, even with the website even coming up and showing up, that Brian has already put up, someone could be talking and saying, yeah, I got it right here. And they point on their phone and there's the website and the logo. And it's held for a few seconds so that we can get that on screen and then go on to something else. So, I mean, I think that's another possibility, because then it takes you to both. And you can say, well, you could do it either way, you could do it online, and they also have, regular classes.
Yeah.
And even if it's not right now, I'm sure that there will be some online classes kept after COVID.
I really do think with the whole reshaping of how we deliver courses in general, it's going to be interesting in what that looks like. I had a question. In terms of accessibility, right? You know how you have little PSAs that have the lettering so people can read? Like, I often put those on Netflix English movies because English is not my first language.
Right.
And then, English or Scottish or what, it's like the accent is very, you
Yes.
know, so I put those. Like, is that something you guys would work on or no? Or I don't know.
You mean like subtitles?
Well, I don't know if it's subtitles, but it would be subtitles. But sometimes if people are, if they cannot hear, if they're deaf, right, it would be an accessibility
Yeah,
issue.
the closed caption.
So closed caption, is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
subtitles. Yeah, subtitles, closed caption.
Something-
It's a possibility. I don't know.
Definitely something that we could take a look at. Again, you're the client. If you want subtitles, we'll do subtitles.
Mhm.
But thank you for the suggestion. Never thought of that one before. But yeah, we'll look into that. Right.
It's a good idea. I mean, nowadays everything has,
Yeah.
it seems to have that.
Well, it's that whole accessibility piece, right?
Absolutely,
That I was thinking.
Right.
absolutely. Then we just have to figure out too how to place them in a scene so that they're not distracting to the animation and
Right.
everything else. We would have to arrange our screens a little bit different, but that's a technical thing David and I could
Yeah.
probably go through. Because as you can see, each little screen that we have here, we have our names at the bottom, but not all animation would be that small. And if there's enough words, it would take up quite a bit of the bottom and we'd have to constantly
Yeah.
be replacing. So we'd have to figure out some kind of a system to doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking if you, right, in anime, I'm thinking when my ignorance, guys, and you pardon my ignorance in terms of the field of studies that you're embarking, but I'm thinking if there's a little person who's deaf, right? Like if my children were deaf, like how would they, I know in TV they have it, that option, like there's
Okay.
smart TVs now, that kind of thing. But I don't know, sometimes it's that representation, and that's what I make a little bit of more emphasis of understanding our end clients as well. Because then you can relate, you can develop a story, whatever that story is, that people are going to identify and there's going to be this, okay, city school, boom. I if I'm a single parent, if I have a mobility disability, like all our facilities are accessible, right? Like in a wheelchair, or the teachers represent my culture as well. Not everybody's white, or right, like all those little details that
Absolutely.
you need to. I mean, that's what they do, right? Like those guys that they sell us stuff all the time through media and what have you. So
Yeah, yeah.
That reminds
think-
me also, Nancy, what you just said, that we are creating some programming specific for people living with hard of hearing disabilities around. We're in the process of developing horticulture, and we'll probably do a welding in the future as well. So that would be pretty cool.
And I think also to, sorry to interrupt, but I'm thinking also too, this is something that I'm going to really stress with you guys and students, is that when we're doing the storyboards, we're going to make them as if already you have to make your storyboards so exaggerated in action and poses that it says what's going on. Like, no, don't do that. Wait a minute. And you, even just with the signals of your hands and the gestures that characters are doing, you should be able to visually look at your story and know what it's about without that much words, to be honest with you.
mhm.
So keep that in mind already, okay, when we start into storyboards.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to add too. So I'll share a story of a former. I think relationship building is very important. Anything that you tried that is new. So we had a student, was a woman, who we had like an info table at a specific spot in the city, right? Like we would always be there, and this woman would kind of, essentially with the staff, they began to say, hey, do you have any more questions? Anyways, that took about a year or more. And so eventually, one of our programs, she got the courage to sign up, because you don't have to have completed high school. That's the other thing. Once you go in our website, you're going to see the requirements to sign up. It's free. You don't have to complete high school, 19 and up. Those are sort of the main requirements to join a course in City School. Anyway, so she continued and she got signed up for Intro to Construction for Women's course in one of our locations. Later on, as you know, with the women that were in her class, like she also was open and shared with us that she was in the sex trade business at one point in her life. And then eventually she completed the course, and then she moved on to wanting to finish her high school diploma. How cool is that, right? So that's the impact that City School does. It takes a lot to build those relationships. But let's say she would have seen the PSA announcement that really she felt identified, that could have been another option as well, right? So I think in the work that you'll be developing, it's also very important. And as you go on with life, it does have an impact. And ideally, we want to create a positive impact, right? So that you know, she at the end, she was the graduation, I hug her, it's like, oh, thank you, Nancy. I'm like, no, I did nothing, it was all your work. And but that's sort of the idea of where different the walks of life of our City School students, it's so, it has so much color to that, but to keep you guys in mind. So but that was a beautiful success story. I cherish that story.
It is an awesome one. Thank you.
Good.
Very good.
Okay, so I don't know if we can wrap up because I still have to go over this week's assignment with everybody, but our guests, if there's any last comments, and I will, once that happens, I will stop the recording and then we'll commence with our regular scheduled class. Okay, so Nancy,
The only
Brian,
thing,
Lil,
sorry.
go ahead.
Any questions, guys? Going once, going twice? No,
Okay.
you're good.
All right.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, we're excited to see what you come up with.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Bye.
All right,
Uh,
to our guests, again, great, everybody waving, clap. We'll be seeing lots of each other in the future, so. thank
So
you.
David, can we get copies of this too?
What's that?
Can we get a copy of this too? I mean, I know you're going to send a copy to Sue, but can you also send a copy out to
Yeah.
myself as well?
For sure.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Alrighty.
See you in a couple days.